Hello, fellow book readers. Today I want to do a Wheel of Time character tier list. So, last video I did a Wheel of Time book tier list, and I promised that I was going to do a character tier list because I have a lot to say about the characters. More about the characters than I do about the books, actually. So I'm more of a character reader. Like I said, this year I read Wheel of Time, so for the first time. And yeah, I just have all these thoughts about the books. I thought it would be cool to do some tier lists. The book tier list was really fun, so let's do some characters. And let's talk about my tiers first off, though. Top tier, we got favorite characters. So these are my favorite characters in the series. I consider them the best characters. I really like them. Some of these characters, two in particular, are among my favorite literary characters I've ever read. I'll get to that when I get to that. And then the next tier would be great characters. I still think these characters are amazing. They're awesome, great characters. Super invested in their journey throughout the book. Something about them, to me, made them great characters. Beyond a good character, a great character. The next tier would be good characters. These characters are still good. They're interesting. I'm not like bored reading them or anything. Yeah, so they're good characters. Nothing wrong with them at all. I really enjoy their arcs. They're just not among my favorites in the series. And then we get the meh characters. These are the characters that are just like mad to me. Like I don't really care that they're there. Like they register me to me as characters. Like I'm taking in the information still, but I don't care about them really. They're just sort of meh. They're on the page, whatever. And then we got the next tier, which is hated them, and that doesn't mean they're a antagonist, right? Because your antagonist you're supposed to hate. That just means I think they're a bad character. I hate it when they're on the page, or I might have liked when they're on the page, but I hate what they're doing. So it's like, oh, why are they on? Because there is one character in particular that is like that for me. So it's like, yeah, I just kind of hate them. They didn't like them as characters. And then the last tier, which is probably the tier you least want to be in, is didn't leave an impression. They just sort of exist. They're not meh because it's like I barely took in any information they were doing. Like they left no impression on me. And there's a few characters here because this is a really giant tier list. I think there's like 80 characters on this tier list. So some of these characters did not leave an impression. So let's start. And we'll go, in order. And starting is with Agelmar. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, because you know what? He didn't leave an impression on me. No impression. He's one of the 5 great captains. I think we meet him in Eye of the World. He's in Faldara. I can't remember anything he did though, right? In the book 1, and I think he's in book 2 too. No, can't remember a single thing he did. And then he's in the last book, and he's part of the plot where the great captains are like getting their minds warped by Grendel, the Forsaken. And that's a cool arc, but that character could have been anybody. Like he wasn't unique in that arc. That's a really cool arc, but yeah, he just didn't leave an impression. So there we go. Okay, next up is Agenar, and he is one of the Forsaken. We meet him in Eye of the World. He dies in Eye of the World. Doesn't really do much. He shows up at the end and pretty much dies right away. And then he gets resurrected, but he like infiltrates. He like becomes part of the Black Tower, and he's like infiltrating the Black Tower on behalf of the Dark One and the Forsaken, turning people to his side. It's a cool arc, but you don't really see him much. Doesn't leave much of an impression. Yeah, I just don't think he leaves much of an impression. So for me, I'm gonna go in the doesn't leave an impression category. Next up is Alanna. I think Alanna is a good character. I really like Alanna's arc, and I think she's a really interesting character. I know a lot of people don't like what she did to Rand. I don't like what she did to Rand, but it was, I think it was like an interesting arc, and like I thought it was like she had interesting motives. Like she wanted to control the Dragon Reborn. That's like what the Aes Sedai were trying to do, and she went about it in sort of like a smart way that didn't end up working. And I really liked her character throughout the series, not just because of that, because she's like so emotional. Like every time she's on the page, she's like filled with emotion. And to me, it's interesting because a lot of the Aes Sedai are not very emotional, and she is. And I think because of that, she's a pretty good character. I always like when she's on the page. I like reading her. So to me, she's a good character. Next up, we got Olivia, or Alvia. I think it's just Olivia. She's a former Damani who gets freed, and she's like a really strong channeler too. I think she's like a good character also. You don't see her too much, and she doesn't speak too much, but I think her backstory is really interesting. Because most of the Damani, when they get freed, they don't want to be free. They want to be the Damani still. She doesn't. Uh, she eventually gets convinced that the Damani are terrible people, and she plays a small but important role in Memory of Light. I always like when she's on the page. I like the way she talks. She doesn't talk that much, but when she does, I think it's always very interesting. And I like her characterization because she's like 400 years old, but she acts like a 14-year-old because that's when she was collared, and she didn't really ever grow up because she became a Damani, and Damani are like not people. So when she gets freed, she reverts back to how she was, and it's a really interesting character arc, and I like her as a character. Yeah, I would put her behind Alana though, but still in the good character. Alodra, I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right. I'm gonna say a lot of these names wrong, by the way, because I didn't listen to the audiobooks. So she is the person who makes the dragons and the fireworks and the bombs. She's part of the guild. She's just a meh character for me. I think the dragons are really cool. Uh, but whenever she was on the page, I didn't really care about her. She doesn't really have much of a personality. She's kind of fiery, I guess, a little bit. That's about it. Fiery. She makes fireworks. It's kind of funny. But yeah, she didn't leave that much of an impression on me, but she left a little bit. It wasn't like she left no impression. I remember what she did. And I think the dragons are a really cool arc. But her as a character, I don't think is. She's like a replaceable character. Anybody could have filled that role. She didn't really have that much of a personality. To me, she's just a meh character. Okay, next up we got Alviren. Or Alviren. I'm gonna say all these names wrong, and I apologize. She is the like head of the Black Aja, but she's also a White Aja. I think like her and Elidia, like going back and forth, like for control of the White Tower, basically. Even though they're both terrible people, was like really interesting. Like, cause you were rooting for Alvarian because that's how bad Elidia is, but Alvarian's not any better. She's still awful, and she screws things up majorly for Rand and everybody else. She succeeds at her job, and I think she's a really interesting character with some depth because you kind of even feel bad for her a little bit when Eladia like turns the tables on her, even though she's the head of the Black Aja, and you still want her to lose. So I think she's actually a good character. But I would say she's behind Olivia and Alana for sure. I did like reading her. Like she's not good as in like you're rooting for her. She's good as in she like when she's on the page, you like reading. Okay, Andrew. Yeah, so he's the one in Memory of Light who basically ends up beating Mazrim Taim to take back control of the Black Tower, and I actually really, really, really love that arc in that book. It's one of the highlights of Memory of Light for me. Memory of Light's not my favorite Wheel Time book by far, but I really enjoyed that arc, and I think he's a really good character. So yeah, might be tempted to put him in the great characters list. Yeah, for now we're gonna put him in great. I really like that arc. Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, next up is a Rengar who uses the name Halima in the Rebel Aes Sedai camp, and I think that's a really good arc, and I think she's a really good character. I love how she sort of like twists them and does it twist Egwene. She doesn't twist Egwene. She like fools Egwene. Egwene has no idea it's her that's causing the headaches that she's getting. I think it's a really good arc, and I think she has some like really good dialogue in that too. So yeah, I think she's a good character. She's not in the books enough for me to say she's a great character though. She just has like sort of spot appearances, but every time she's on the page, you're really interested. Like, oh, is she going to get caught finally? And then when she does get caught, I think it's a really good moment too. So yeah, I'm a fan of this character. Not a fan. I wanted her to lose the entire time. But, I do think she's a good character. So she's going in the good character list, and I put her ahead of Alvarian, but below Olivia. Asmodeen. He's the Forsaken that becomes the mentor to Rand, and I think he's an awesome character in that role. So good. He has so many like funny moments, and he like actually teaches Rand, even though he doesn't want to. It's really good stuff. He's gone so soon though. Like he dies at the end of Fires of Heaven, and that's like the only book. That is the only book he mentors Rand in. Kind of a shame. I wish he was in the book series more because I really liked him as a character. He was awesome. I'm gonna put him in the top of the good character list for sure. It's definitely ahead of Alana. I don't think I could put him in the great characters though. Avienda. Oh, Avienda. I love Avienda. She's awesome. Awesome character. And I think both authors really write her well. I think Sanderson did an excellent job with her, and obviously, Robert Jordan's amazing with her. She has so many cool arcs, and I love her sisterhood with Elaine. I love her and Egwene together. Loved her and Rand together. Like her, whenever she would insult Rand, it was always so funny. She had some really good moments too, especially before she was a wise woman when she was like with the Spears when she was a Spear sister. Really good stuff. Really enjoy her as a character. She's not my favorite Rand, like I guess girlfriend you want to say, whatever you want to call them. I don't think they have the best chemistry, but I do like them together still. So yeah, she's awesome. Really like her arc at the end and her battle with Grendel in the last book. Really good stuff. Yeah. So she's a great character. I'd put her ahead of Andral for sure. Bashir, yeah, Bashir left no impression on me at all. I couldn't tell you a single thing that he did in the books. Like he's in the books a lot, but he doesn't have any personality traits to me that stood out really. So he's going in the didn't leave an impression. I do think he leaves more of an impression than these three. So put him at the top of don't leave an impression. Okay, Bilal, he's another Forsaken. He had a really cool death at the end of The Dragon Reborn. I thought that was a pretty awesome scene. Really the only thing he does in the books, so yeah, but that was a cool scene. So he's not a good character, but he also left an impression, so I can't put him in the didn't leave an impression thing. I'm gonna put him in the meh, and I'll put him below Eldra. Not my favorite Forsaken. He's near the bottom of the Forsaken list for me. Berelain, I love Berelain. Awesome character. I don't know if it's a hot take to say I like her more than Fael, but I do. Yeah, she's awesome. I love her interactions with Perrin. I even love her interactions with Fael, especially when Sanderson wrote her. They had some really awesome moments together in, I think, Tower of Midnight. Really good character. I like that. I like her a lot. And, she ends up with Galad, who is awesome. So, Berelain is going to go in the great character list for me. I'm going to put her at the bottom of the great characters, though. Birgitte. He's okay. I think she's a good character, but she's gonna be at the bottom of the good. I really enjoyed her when she was first introduced. Like when she was like a ghost before she became Elaine's warder. I thought she was like a kind of a different character, and she was like really good. I thought like she was wise. She had good advice. Her conversations with Nynaeve and Elaine were both really good, I thought. And then she became Elaine, and she became kind of like this. Kind of got flanderized where she always talked in this like weird way, and she really loved to drink and do all this other stuff, and it was like that was fun, but it didn't seem like the same character as Spirit Birgitte. But I did think she had some really cool moments. I loved the last book when Elaine is about to get killed, and they're going to take her babies out of her womb, and Birgitte gets slaughtered. She gets beheaded, and then Mat sounds the horn, and she comes as She comes as like a hero of the horn, and kills him as like a spirit. Awesome there. I loved her in Towers of Midnight. When she was in the cells fighting with Elaine, she had a lot of good moments. I just think personality wise, she wasn't like my favorite, but I think she's still a good character. She's gonna be at the bottom of the good list. Gareth Byrne. Nah. I thought his personality when he was with Siuan in I think it's Fires of Heaven. I think it's Fires of Heaven where he's like chasing Siuan, or maybe he like meets Siuan in that town and like sentences her, and then Siuan escapes. I thought that arc, like to when he gets to Saladar and he becomes the general, I thought that was really good. I thought he was like a really good character during that. And then him and Egwene, I think, have really good interactions. But eventually he just kind of levels out and becomes a bit boring. So he's a meh character for me. I would put him obviously above Bilal. And I would put him above Eladra. Yeah, we'll put him above Eladra. It's close, though. Those two are really close. Cadsuane. I think Cadsuane's a great character. She has my favorite introduction in the series. I think her introduction is in Storm Crown of Swords. It's the best introduction in the series, in my opinion. I think she's a kick-ass character, and I think she stays a kick-ass character all the way until Brandon Sanderson takes over. I don't think Brandon Sanderson got Cadsuane. I don't know if that's a hot take. I think he writes a really bad Cadsuane. He writes Cadsuane that you want to hate, and I didn't like that because I actually really like Cadsuane. I think Cadsuane's a character you want to like, and I think she's actually a really good mentor for Rand until she's not. And that's an interesting perspective because she's sort of like a hard mentor, where Moraine's more of like the soft mentor. So it's interesting to see like those how each of them tries to mold Rand differently. But yeah, I really like Katsuine. I don't think she's will be a good Amarillion. I don't think she was ever meant to be the Amarillion. Obviously, Egwene was not supposed to die. So, and that's a really stupid arc. But whatever. I still think she's a great character, and I would put her ahead of Berylline and ahead of Andral, but behind Aviendha. It's a really good place for her. Kuldain. Yeah, I hated this character. Just hated him with passion. And it wasn't like a good hate. I just didn't want to read about him. Him constantly complaining, Rand is not the Dragon Reborn, blah, 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 blah. So happy when Mat killed him. That was a great scene. Yeah. Hated him. Didn't want to read him. Don't know if that's really a hot take or not. I really don't think it is. Okay, so we're not gonna do Sindain because I'm sure Lanfear is on the list, and yeah, I'd rather just talk about Lanfear than Sindain. Demon Dread. Maybe my favorite. No, he's not my favorite. I think he's my third favorite for a second. He was great in A Memory of Light, though. Great character in A Memory of Light. I loved his like taunts to Rand. It was so good, and then like all his fights were awesome too. Yeah, so he's on the great list. I'll put him below Katsuine. Right there, I think is a really good spot for him. Lyn, the Ashraman. Yeah, he's just a meh character for me. He left a little bit of an impression. I can't say he didn't leave any impression, but didn't really do enough to make me think he's a good character or anything. I'm going to put him below Eladra, above Bilal. Get this guy's first name, but it's Doman. He's the Seanchan Sea Captain. Just a meh character. I thought in The Great Haunt he was like a really good character, and then he was a really good character, I think, through Fires of Heaven. Yeah, you know what? Maybe he should be in good, but the later books he was just kind of like him and Egenian. I like Egenian more than I liked him. Let's just put it that way. I think I'll put him at the top of the meh character list for me. I think that's a really good spot for him. He's kind of a meh character. Oh, Egenian's next. Perfect. Egenian, I really like Egenian. Good character. I really loved when Elaine and Nynaeve run into her and they find out she's a Seanchan, and she's like, well, I'm pretty anti-Damani now. I loved how she was able to change her mind and think things through rationally. And then I think she had like a really good arc where when she was with Mat and Tuon and all them escaping, and like she's like, you could still like, she won't leave her Seanchan heritage, so like she accepts that she's no longer a Genian when Tuon like takes away her name, but she still like wants to do what's right and like what's good. So yeah, and then like her arc in Memory of Light's really good. I think she should have saved Egwene from being killed. I think that was what was supposed to happen based on Egwene's true dream. But Sanderson decided to change it, so still had a good arc there though. Still had a really good arc there. She's a good character. I like her. Put her at the bottom of good though. Yeah, I think it's a good spot for her. Egwene, okay. Here's some hot takes. Egwene is my favorite character in the series. One of my favorite characters just in literature, period. Love Egwene. She's awesome. Don't care what anyone says. We can disagree. That's fine. I think Egwene is the best. Great character. I love her entire arc. I love how she's a natural born leader. Just natural born. Straight up. Just natural born leader. Right from book one, she like embraces things. She's the only one that actually wants to go on the adventure. She's like, oh, you're not leaving without me. I'm going. Like, Nynaeve comes by her own choice, but she only comes to protect people. That's not why Egwene's going. She wants to actually experience the adventure. When she's told she's an Aes Sedai, or she can be an Aes Sedai, she's like, yes, I'm up. Right away. She wants to learn. She's all about learning. She joins the Wise Woman just to learn. She plays both sides of the tower really well. She's the leader. She's trying to make the tower what it should be, or like what it once was, a great tower. While all the other Aes Sedai went around blind or ignorant. She like won't take nonsense. She acknowledges that there's a Black Aja when everybody else wants to like not acknowledge it, and she sponges it. She has some great battle scenes. I think Knife of Dreams is awesome. She's awesome in Knife of Dreams. I think she's awesome in The Gathering Storm. She's awesome in so many books. I think she's, a great character, top tier. I don't really understand her hate. I think you just hate like powerful female main characters if you hate Egwene. Like she's a really awesome character. So yeah, to me, she's the best character in the series, and I don't particularly think it's all that close. Okay, next up we got Eladia. Eladia is maybe my favorite antagonist in the series, and when I say favorite, I mean the one I want to lose the most. When she's on the page, you're gripped to the page. Like I was glued to the page every time she's on it. She's so despicable. She thinks she's right. She thinks she's doing good, but she never is. She's a perfect antagonist, and she's supposed to be an antagonist, which is great. Yeah, I think she's a really, really good antagonist. So yeah, she is in the great category for me. Mostly because I think she's a terrible person and I want her to lose, and you're supposed to want her to lose. So that's why I would put her right behind No, I put her ahead of Demon Dread. I think that's a really good I think that's a really good spot for her right there. Right there, really, really good spot for her. Elaine. Okay, here's another hot take. You guys are gonna hate me. I love Elaine. I think she's a great character. She's among my favorites for sure. She's not my second favorite character, but she is in my favorite character list. I think she's a great character. I think she's everything you want the like daughter hair queen character to be. Like she acts like she was raised to be royalty, and she does it in a really good way. I love how soft spoken she can be when she wants. I love how determined she is when she wants. I love how she like constantly doing what she wants, and that's like that's exactly what she should be. But I also love how she has a heart still, which is what separates her from some of the other characters that have power. And Egwene's the same way. I forgot to bring that up. Egwene, everybody likes to say she's just like an Aes Sedai. No, she's not just an Aes Sedai. She has an actual heart and cares about things. So does Elaine, and I think it's perfect. I also think she actually has the best chemistry with Rand. So there you go. I think Elaine is awesome. I think she has some great moments in this series too. A lot of people hate the Ball of the Wind plot. I actually really, really like the Ball of the Wind plot. I think her interactions with Mat are hilarious. I love her interactions with Tom. Her interactions with Egwene and Nynaeve are top tier. Her interactions with Aviendha are the best. Her interactions with Birgitte are really good too. I love how they sort of have like not a love hate, but it's like a sort of mentor mentee relationship, kind of, where like Birgitte's trying to teach Elaine, and Elaine doesn't quite get that, but awesome stuff there. And like I said, her interactions with Rand I think are awesome too. Yeah, I really like Elaine. Top tier character for me. Elias, yeah, he's just a meh character for me. I really like what he does, but his personality, if you told me to describe his personality, I wouldn't be able to do it. So there we go. I love every time he's on the page because you're always getting cool stuff with him. I just don't think he's like a great character. Fael, oh god. Fael is going in the meh category for me, which is a shame because after The Shadow Rising, I really loved Fael. And then she went downward for like 4 straight books. And then she got kidnapped by the Shido. And I thought that arc was really awesome. I really liked that. And it brought her back up a little bit. But then I don't think Sanderson wrote a very good Fael. So she went back down again. So yeah, she's in the meh category for me. But I do think she has some moments where she's actually like a great character. And then she has some moments where she's a meh character. So I'm gonna leave her. But the meh moments, I think, outweigh the... No, not even meh. She has some moments where she's a hate at them character. That's not great. So that's why I'm going to put her in meh. But I will put her behind... Yeah, I think this is a good spot for her. Right here. Right behind Gareth Byrne. Gallet. Yeah, I really love Gallet. Gallet's awesome. Great character. He's going to immediately go to the top of my great character list. I think Gallet is awesome. I love that Gallet is always honest. Always, 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 always honest. He always does what he thinks is right. But he's also very honorable. He's an honorable person. So he's not doing what he thinks is right if it's not honorable. Like, he's always going to do the honorable thing. He's always going to do what he thinks is right. And he's always going to be honest. And he's not a weasel. Like, he's actually a good character, and he loves his family, even though they all hate him. Every single one of them. Morgase hates him. Elaine hates him. Gowan likes him. So they don't all hate him. But the 2 members that he's like, he loves above all, hate him. But yeah, he's awesome, and I actually think he makes the White Cloaks kind of likable, which I thought was impossible because they are like one of the least likable units ever in literature. So yeah, Gallad's great. I think he has a great end to his arc. Although, I think he's supposed to end up with Egwene at the end because of what Min's vision. I do think that like Gowon's supposed to die, and then like he comes and like takes his place for Egwene basically, and Egwene's supposed to, from what I've heard, Egwene is supposed to end the series pregnant with Gowon's babies, and Galad's gonna raise them. That doesn't happen, but I do like him and Beryllian together, so no complaints. I think he's an awesome character. Okay, Gal. Meh. I mean, just didn't really leave an. Actually, he's not even meh. He just didn't leave an impression on me. I don't care about Gal at all. Like, just at all. I'll put him behind Agelmar. Gawyn, Weasel. Yeah, you go to the bottom. Straight to the bottom, Gawyn. He has some good moments, don't get me wrong. I'm not as down on Gawyn as everybody else, but he is a weasel. He's like the opposite of Galad. They both always do what they think is right, but Gawyn doesn't trust anybody. Like, he does what his gut tells him to at all times, and he's not very honest about it. Like, he'll go behind people's backs and do stuff. He's just a downright weasel. Sometimes he's a lovable weasel, don't get me wrong. When he saves Egwene from the Seanchan assassins, it's an awesome scene. But, he's still a weasel. That's how the best way I can describe him, a weasel, and I kind of hate him. So, gonna go there. Grendel. She's just a meh character for me. I think she has some cool moments in A Memory of Light, but other than that, I think she's kind of a meh character. I do think what she does to like her servants with compulsion is pretty interesting, though. But yeah, just a meh character. I won't even put her ahead of Fael or Eladra. Right there for her. Not my favorite Forsaken. Okay, Haslam is just Grendel again, so we're just gonna put her here because I don't want to repeat. We're gonna move Sayadan too because I prefer to just talk about like what I know the characters as better. Hurin. Yeah, his parts of the Great Hunt bored me when he was walking in the Portal Stone with Rand. That's the only part of the book I didn't like, really. So I don't know. He's just a kind of a mad character. He kind of puts me to sleep. So we'll put him on the list below Flynn, but ahead of Bilal. No, I'll put him ahead of Flynn. Right there. Ishamael. I'll talk about Ishamael when I talk about Moradin, so we'll just put him here. Interlude. Yep. Really hated his chapters, so I'm gonna put him in the meh. I thought his chapters in Towers of Midnight were the worst parts of the book, and I didn't like reading them. I thought he was just introduced too late, and I just couldn't connect with him. I thought his personality was just very bland. So I don't actually hate him, but he's very meh to me. Put him ahead of Bilal, though. Grady. I thought Grady was awesome. Really fun character. He doesn't do a whole lot, but whenever he's on the page, I liked him. So I'm going to put him in the good character list. He's just going to go last, though. Yeah. Grady fan. Okay, Furyk Karede. He's the head of the Death Watch for Tuon. Yeah, I hate him. He's an awful person. He's like totally a champion of everything the Seanchan stand for. I do like how he comes to respect Mat, but yeah, I hate him as a character, so he's going to go behind Galad. Lanfear, yeah, okay, she's my favorite Forsaken. I think she's a great character. I think her story's awesome. I love every time she's on the page, I'm glued to it. I think she does something interesting. I love the way she uses words to sort of like play people. I think she's really good at that. Really interesting stuff. I loved her fight in Fires of Heaven. I thought it was awesome. I loved every time she was in A Memory of Light with Perrin. She's just really good. Really great character. Not among my favorites, but among the greats. I would put her ahead of Cadsuane, I guess. No, I'm going to put her behind Cadsuane, but ahead of Eladia. Right there. Yeah, it's a really good spot for her. Lan. Okay, Lan's an interesting one for me. Here's my take on Lan. I think he's a great non-point of view character. Whenever I'm not in his head, he's awesome. He has an awesome backstory, an awesome arc. Like what he becomes in the end, great. Good stuff. Love him in Nynaeve. Love him in Moraine. Great character. When he's a point of view character, he's not very good. He's super depressed at all times. And being in his head is really jarring. It's like not a character whose head you want to be in. don't love him as a point of view character. When he's a point of view character, to me, he's a hated them character. When he's not a point of view character, he's a great character. So I'm going to put him in the good character list for me. But he's going to be high end of good. I'll put him ahead of Asmodee. He'll be a top of good. That's a really good spot for him. Leanne. I love Leanne. I think she's a good character. Post getting stilled, I think she shines. Like she takes to it. She wants to not be stilled. Obviously, she wants to channel, but like she like doesn't give up. The things she does, how she like kind of uses seduction, how she like explores changing Ajas when she gets healed. It's perfect. She has a really good character arc. I think has really good dialogue, really good charisma, really good presence on the page. Yeah, I'm a big Leanne fan. Sure, I'll put her ahead of Berylane and ahead of Andral, head of Demon Dread. I think right there is good. Big Leanne fan for sure. Ingtar, yeah, didn't leave an impression on me at all. So put him right here. No impression. Liandrin. Though Liandrin was a really good villain when she got introduced. A really good antagonist. The fact that she had a Egwene collared I was so angry. I was so angry when that happened. I was waiting for her to die. I wanted Nynaeve to kill her so bad. I think Nynaeve got robbed. I think she should have been the one to get kill her. We don't actually even know if Liandrin's dead or not, because last we saw she was in the call for I forget the name of that Song General. But yeah, I think she's a good arc, interesting, really good early antagonist. I'm gonna put her in the good character list. She'll be right behind Birgit, I think. Good spot for her. Loghain. Love Loghain. Great character. Wish he was in the books more. That's the only thing you could say. And I think he got robbed at the end because Min visions him having a heroic moment, basically being a hero, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't save the Black Tower. That's Andral and Pervera. And he doesn't kill Tame. Egwene kills Tame. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to kill Tame. Like, if Robert Jordan wrote the books, I think he would have been the one to kill Tame. So, but still, other than that, he's a good character. I just wish he was in the book more. Really good arc. We'll put him ahead of Andral, ahead of Demon Dread, ahead of Leanne, ahead of Leandra. Right there. Loghain. Lews Therin. I'm not going to put him on the list. He's not. I mean, he's just Rand, right? I do like Lews Therin, but yeah, he's just going to go here. Loial puts me to sleep. He's going to be in the meh category the entire time. He has some funny moments in A Memory of Light where he's just going around trying to get people stories after the battle. I think that's hilarious because everybody's just like, dude, no. He's like, I need my book. I think that's funny. But for the most part, during the series, he kind of puts me to sleep. So, that's controversial, but I'm not a big Loial guy. I'll put him in the meh category. He'll go above Fail, above Gareth, above. We'll put him at the top of meh. Yeah. And that's a good spot for him. Mat. Oh, Mat's a hard one for me. I really hated Mat in Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. And then he became a great character. And he stayed a great character the entire series. Is he in my favorites? He might be the bottom of the favorite list. We're going to put him there for now. He's in my favorites. I think he's really funny. I think in the later books, he has some really good moments. I really love his interactions with Elaine. I know a lot of people don't like those. I think those are hilarious. I really like his interactions with Egwene. I think those are hilarious. Him and the band have some good moments. When he's the general, he's awesome. I think him and Tuon actually have really good chemistry, even though Tuon's like a despicable human. Yeah, just think he's a really good character. I love the dice thing going on in his head. I think that's awesome. Him with the snakes and the foxes, it's good stuff. Yeah, he's going to go on the favorites list, but he's probably going to be at the bottom of the favorites. Mazrim Taim, yeah, I hate this guy from the beginning, but you're supposed to hate him, so I think that makes him a good character. Yeah, I do wish he was kind of in the books more. I wish Loghain was the one to kill him, but really despicable human. I was immediately when he was on the page, like first sentence, I was like, oh, this guy's not going to be good. I knew it. Very interesting character. Good character for sure. I'm going to put him at the bottom of good, though. Mesaana. She's just not in the book much. I think she has like a really good story. I think her arc's really good as she's the one that infiltrates. She's the Forsaken that infiltrates the White Tower. But she's just not in the book enough. She doesn't have really a personality. So, yeah, I'm going to just go with a meh character. She'll put her ahead of full role and interlude, but yeah, right there. Okay, next up, let's talk about Min. Min is a character that I never really connected with. I don't know what to say. I just never did. I thought she was always kind of meh. She didn't like, you know, I didn't want to skip her dialogue or her pages, or she never put me to sleep, and she had some really exciting moments, and her stuff with the visions was kind of cool, though it felt like a cheat code at times. Um, and yeah, I thought her and Rand were really good together. But her as a character, just personality wise, she never really did much for me. She's definitely a meh character, but she's like the top of meh. Put her at the top of that, and I definitely put her ahead of Loyal. I think she had some really excellent moments, especially when she was like counseling different characters. Yeah, so for me, she would go there for sure. Moghedian. Okay, Moghedian is interesting. I really like her description as like this sort of spider who she's the Forsaken that isn't gonna like confront anyone. She'll sort of operate from the shadows. Really enjoyed that. I think that's really good stuff actually. So yeah, I would put Moghedian in the good character list for sure. I don't think she hits great because in the later books she kind of just disappears, and when she is there, she's not great. But yeah, she's definitely a good character. I would put her. I think I'd put her below Leandrin. It's a good spot for her. Okay, next up is Moiraine. Moiraine was my favorite character in Eye of the World. She stayed in my top 5 till she disappeared in Fire of Heaven. I presumed she was dead when I read it. Did not think she was alive, even though you didn't see her body. So I was like, maybe there's an off chance. I thought there was like a 20% chance she was alive. I knew she had to go because you can't have Rand having her as a mentor the entire time. That would not work. Um, yeah, then she came back and she was great again, and she's one of my favorite characters for sure. I would definitely put her ahead of Matt. But below Elaine, I think if she was in the series more, she might be ahead of Elaine. But because she's not, I would put her below Elaine. I love her magic. I love the way she talks. I love how she like adapts to Rand more than like tries to make Rand adapt to him. Well, originally she tries to make Rand adapt to her, but she realizes that's terrible, and she's the only one that like admits it. She's like, "Oh, I can't do that. Let's adapt to him." And I loved her personality. I loved her how she actually like kind of cared about people, but she also knows that the Dragon Reborn needs to do this. So it's like I care, but I only can only care so much because you're going to be the one that has to do this. Uh, yeah, I just love the way she talks, and you make sure you read New Spring because she's awesome in that book. You get more like personality of her. You get more of her backstory, how she could have been the Queen of Karen, but she didn't want it. But yeah, awesome stuff. Really good character. Big fan of hers. Morghese, I like Morghese. I think she's a great character. I know she's probably not everybody's favorite because she gets way too much screen time for a character that's not as important as she is. But I think she's like exactly what a powerful queen should be, and I love that they explored her and Raven. I love how she went through some trauma with Raven and Varda, and Robert Jordan addressed that. He didn't like shy away from it. It was a really good character arc, and I love how she gets power from it. Like she doesn't let it destroy her. And I loved her reunions and Towers of Midnight with everybody, and I loved her arc with Fael when she was like a servant of the when she was Gaishin. Like I thought that was perfect. I thought she like really dealt with that better than both Fael and the Queen's name. But yeah, I thought really good stuff by her. I'm a big Morghese fan for sure. She's a great character for me, and I would put her ahead of Aledia. I put her behind Logan. Right there, I think is where I would put her. Okay, so next up we got Moridin, who is also Ishmael. I think he's the second best Forsaken, and I kind of love his character arc, and I love his sort of demeanor. When he's Ishmael, he's like sort of crazy. He thinks he's the Dark One. He's like his battles with Rand are awesome. The way uh, his back and forth with them are awesome, just word wise. And then he Rand kills him, and he becomes Moradin when the Dark One resurrects him, and Dark One gives him access to the true power. And I think that arc is really fascinating. I think he becomes like a really good character where he just kind of wants to die, but he doesn't tell anybody that. He's like, so I won't say he's working both sides because he's not. He's working for the Dark One to accomplish his goals. He wants to be in oblivion. Um, yeah, and he's really good in A Memory of Light. him saving Rand. I thought that was shocking. I didn't even know it was him until way later. I don't think you're supposed to know it's him, but when it was revealed, I was like, "Whoa!" It's like this is interesting. And his interactions with the other Forsaken are really cool because you can tell he's like so much more powerful. He's a great character. Easily in the great character list. I don't think he's as interesting character as Lanfear though, but I will put him right behind Lanfear. No, I'll put him behind Logain, I think. No, actually behind Morghese. Yeah, I think right. No, behind Eladia. I think Eladia is a more interesting character. I think right there is a good spot for him. But he's still great. Yeah, all these characters in the great tier, I'm a big fan of. So. Okay, we got Narishma, who I believe. Okay, we got Narishma, who I believe is a Ashaman who becomes a warder to one of the Aes Sedai, which I think is a very fascinating arc when the Ashaman become warders to the Aes Sedai because they like basically volunteer for it, I believe. Most of them, anyway. There might have been one or two that didn't, but they grow to like the role, and it's a really fascinating thing. I think he's a pretty interesting character. I think he's an interesting arc while not being a super interesting character. Is what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna put him in the meh character, but I really like his arc, so he's gonna be high up there. Gonna put him right below, yeah, right below Elias. I think it's a good spot for him right there. I think very interesting character arc. But yeah, just kind of a meh character in general. Pendrin Niall, hate this guy, hate when he's on the page. Yeah. Although you're kind of supposed to hate him, so maybe he's not a hated them character, but I can't put him in the great character list. He's too scummy, and he's not even like really an antagonist, but he is because the White Cloaks are sort of antagonists, but also not really. I'm gonna put him at the bottom for now. Actually, I'll put him ahead of Furyk, but not much better. Noel, yeah, he just didn't really leave much of an impact on me. Yeah, he's gonna go here. Head of these guys though, right behind Bashir, because he is interesting. Our story arc is interesting in his own right, but personality-wise, zero impact. Zero impact. I don't think it's a strong enough story to carry it with zero personality. Nynaeve. Yeah, Nynaeve's awesome. There was a point in time where she would have been my favorite in my favorite list. She was in my top 5 for a while, and then she kind of went downhill. The later books, she just didn't have as much to do. Not the later books, but like the mid-late books. Like right after the Ball of the Winds plot, which I actually liked her in the Ball of the Winds plot. I know some people don't really love that plot, where she didn't really have much to do right after that until she started advising Rand. And that was pretty cool. I really liked her and Rand's relationship. But then I remember like she just basically sat there the entire time. Like she sat and watched Rand. That was like her job. She wasn't that great in A Memory of Light. Yeah, I can't put her in my favorite characters, but she's a great character. I have always said since like book I think 3 or 4 that she's the most layered character in the series. I still think that there's a lot of layers to Nynaeve. There's the strong layer, there's the scared layer, there's the very passionate layer, there's the kindness layer, there's the angry layer, there's the good intentions layer. She's a very layered character, and I think her and Lan have like a really good relationship. I like them together. Yeah, so she's gonna go to the top of the great characters for me. Obviously, I do think she's a better character than Galad, but Oliver. Yeah, Oliver's just in the meh characters for me. He just didn't do it for me. I know some people really like Oliver, and I know some people like really hate him. Not for me. He's just kind of a meh character. I did like him blowing the horn. I thought that was kind of a cool thing for him, but otherwise, I think he brought Matt down more than he brought him up as a character. So we're gonna put him below Eladra, but ahead of Grendel. Okay, we got Padan Fain next, and this is a really interesting character because he's insane. Every time he's on the page, it's just insanity. Like the things he says make no sense. I don't even really know who to compare him to in literature. Like he's an insane person, just totally insane. He's multiple different people, so I guess he has a little bit of a Smeagol Gollum in him, but not really. I mean, it's not really a Smeagol Gollum like ripoff or anything. He's insane, and that's him, and he's insane to the very end. The problem I do have with him is he doesn't really have a satisfying conclusion. Matt kills him. Matt deserved to be the one to kill him. You ran, but I think Matt had the better claim. Yeah, so he dies, but he's barely on the page in Memory of Light. It's like they didn't even have room for him. It's a little disappointing. He doesn't show up as much in the later books as he does in the earlier books. Yeah, I don't know if I can get him up to great. I think I'll just leave him at good. I think good is the spot for him. So we're gonna put him in the good category, and we're gonna put him. He's definitely ahead of Grady. I'll put him ahead of Aginian. Two, I think he's better than Moghedian. I don't think so. I think this is exactly where I'm gonna put him. Okay, next up, and we got a big one here. Perrin. I love Perrin. He's in my favorite characters for sure. Let's talk about Perrin a little bit, and I will put him ahead of Moiraine, but behind Elaine, which might be controversial, but I don't care. I do enjoy Elaine a little bit more. Perrin's arc is super fascinating because he's great in books 2, 3, and 4. And 4, he's the main star. Shadow Rising, which people say is the best book in the series, he has the best arc in that book. The Two Rivers arc is great. Then he's not in Fires of Heaven. And then he's really bad in Lord of Chaos and Crown of Swords because that's the one where the Perrin Fael jealousy stuff is going on. That's like the main thing he's doing, and it's not fun. It's really, really not fun. It's really bad. That's when he kind of got dragged down a little bit for me. He exited my favorite characters for a little bit, and then while Perrin's marching to meet the prophet, Fael gets kidnapped by the Shido, and I think that arc is amazing. Perrin's great in that arc. Like he becomes a leader. This is where he learns to become a leader. And when he saves her in Knife of Dreams with such a great climax, and you see him finally, he's the leader that people wanted him to be, that he kept denying, and it's awesome, awesome stuff. And then Knife of Dreams happens, not Knife of Dreams. Then The Gathering Storm happens, and Brandon Sanderson decides to redo that arc. All of a sudden, Perrin's like, "Oh, I'm not a leader. I can't be a leader. I'm a terrible leader." It's like, no, dude, we just watched you for 4 straight books learn to become a leader. That was your arc, and it was perfect. It was great. You became a leader. It was so good. It was done so good. And then all of a sudden, in The Gathering Storm, it's like, I'm not a leader again. It made no sense. It was like, why are we redoing this plot? Like, why? It literally just ended last book. Why are we redoing this same arc again? And he does it again. He learns to become a leader again, and it's good, but it's not as good as when Robert Jordan did it. I'll tell you that much. It's not as good. But I do think he has some really cool fights with Slayer in Towers of Midnight, and I think he has some really good scenes with Lanfear in Memory of Light. I don't think the scenes with him and Slayer in Memory of Light I could care less about. I think he should have killed Slayer in Towers of Midnight. It was just too much Slayer by that point. He's a one-note character. It was way too much Slayer by that point. But still, he's in my favorite characters list. It's just some of those lulls make him not be above Elaine. But he's still in the favorite characters list for sure. I love this character. And you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to move Mat down to top of great. Because Mat's on the borderline for me. He can be in favorites, but I think I prefer him in the great category. For me, there's sometimes he just misses. And I absolutely hated him in Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. He was awful in those 2 books. He got like a paint job in The Dragon Reborn. He became like basically a different character. There was way less. He doesn't just make the worst possible decision every time, and way less telling everybody every secret imaginable. He just became a much better character. He got more humorous too. So yeah. Pavera. Okay. I really like Pavera. Really do. I think she's amazing. Yeah, I thought I loved her and Andrew's arc in Memory of Light, and I am under the impression I didn't know it at the time, but after I finished Memory of Light, somebody told me that those chapters in Memory of Light were all Brandon Sanderson's idea, and that's perfect arc. Great arc. I love that. He did an awesome job with them. I think she's great. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in the great category, and I actually think I like her a little bit more than Andrew, but it's close. They're like neck and neck. Can't have any more than one apart from each other. They have to be connected. So I think that's a really good spot for her right there. Great character. Raven. Yeah, I love Raven. He's one of my favorite Forsaken. I think he's probably my 3rd or 4th. Him or Demodred are 3rd or 4th. They're definitely the 3rd and 4th of my favorite Forsaken. Yeah, he's great. I love his arc where he, takes over Camelin. I love this fight with Rand and Navy and Moghedian. I just thought that was a really interesting arc, and it wasn't just an interesting arc. I think he's an interesting character too because he's sort of charming, and I don't think any of the other Forsaken are really charming, and he is like he gets by with his charm. Obviously, he was definitely using some compulsion too, but he was also, we heard him talk. He was a very charming character, and he had everybody under the spell. Everybody in Camlin was like Team Gabriel. Um, it was such a good plot. Yeah, I really, really enjoy him as a character. So he's in the great character list for me, and I would put him. Where's Demodred? I'm gonna put him right behind Demodred. Yeah, that's a good spot for him, I think, for sure. No, you know what? I put him right here. I do like Pavera and Androsarch a little bit more, but yeah, it's still great. Rand al'Thor, the King Arthur of the storyline. Yeah, I think the Chosen One trope. If you're gonna do a Chosen One, he's one of my favorites I've ever read. He might even be my favorite. He's definitely my second favorite character in the series for sure. And I think there's like a gap between Egwene and Rand, but then I think there's a gap between Rand and everybody else on the favorite character list. Rand is awesome. Love Rand. My problems with Rand is I did not like him in Eye of the World and The Great Hunt. He is so whiny in those two books. But once he gets that confidence and Lews Therin starts talking to him in his head, oh, he's so good. Such a good character, such a good arc. He has so many traumatic moments and there's so many powerful moments, so many quips, so many like awesome lines. He's so good. I love the twist at the end where he's like in Moradin's body. That's how he survives. It's such a good stuff. Such a good arc. I really, really love Rand. I love, confident Rand. I love crazy Rand. I love like angry Rand after Semirhage collars him. I love like divine Rand after Veins of Gold on top of Dragon Mountain. That's one of the best chapters in the series. I think it's probably my second favorite chapter, maybe third. Honey and the Tea is definitely my favorite. But yeah, Rand, definitely second favorite. He's awesome. One of my favorite. Egwene and Rand, like all of my favorites up here, they're all like my favorites in the series, but Egwene and Rand are up there in my favorite literary characters ever. They're definitely in my top 10 great characters. Rorik. Uh, I like Rorik. Yeah, I like him, but he's doesn't leave that much of an impression on me. I don't like him enough where he enters the great category. But he is a good character. I like some of his lines. Him and Amai's back and forth sometimes are pretty funny. I love him and Rand together. He's one of the more interesting IL in my opinion. Yeah, so he's going to be in the good category list. I'm going to put him above Grady, not above Agenian. No. Yeah, I think this is a good spot for him. It's where he's going to be. Samael, yep, just sort of a meh character. They built up him and Rand's fight for like 3 books, and I thought the payoff for that was really good. But in terms of him being as a character, as a personality, he's one note, very, very one note, and you don't get that much of him. So, and I don't think the note's that impressive. He's a meh character. I don't hate him, and he did leave an impression, but he's definitely a meh character. Put him ahead of Missana, ahead of Flynn, ahead of Thorin. I think he's not better than Grendel. So yeah, right there, good spot for him. Semirhage. Yeah, I hated Semirhage. Hated reading her. I didn't think she was that interesting of a character. She very one note. That one note was stupid and not fun to read. Very mean. I think she's like the meanest of the Forsaken. I'm not a fan of hers. And it wasn't that like I hated her and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to hate her. Good antagonist. I was like, oh no, I just don't want to read her. So yeah, she's gonna be on the list. I will put her behind Karede actually. Sivana. Okay. I don't know if it's controversial or not. I hope it's not. Sivana's a wet blanket character for me. Every time she was on the page, I wanted to shut the book. I think she's the worst point of view character in the series, I think. Very boring. She's one note also, but that one note is something I don't want to read, just like Semirhage. Yeah, I did not like her at all. I thought her arc where she kidnapped Fael, Morghese, and Queen Aliendre. I thought that was actually interesting, but thankfully she wasn't the point of view character for most of those chapters. And she really didn't see her that much, but you wanted her to lose. I was waiting for her to lose, so she did her job well, I guess, but like I never wanted to read her. So she didn't do her job that good. And there were points when she was firing with the Forsaken where I was just like, oh god, not these chapters, please no more Sivana. So yeah, she's in the hate at them for sure. Um, and I'll put her at the bottom for now because she was a big part of the reason why some of those some of those like books she was in, I didn't aren't higher than they would be on my tier list. All right, Shada Haran. He's the Miradrol. I don't really know how to say those words. He's that like interesting Miradrol. I thought he had like a really cool character concept, but I didn't think he was a cool character. I wish his personality was slightly different because I thought the character concept of him being like this unusual Miradrol was really interesting. I love how he's like basically the incarnation of the Dark One. Um, that was cool. So yeah, cool character concept, personality wise. I didn't care for him. Every time I was on the page, I was like, oh God, not this guy. But I didn't hate him because he had some cool moments. Yeah, so he's in the meh characters for me. Probably pretty high up in the meh characters. Like I definitely preferred him to Samuel. I prefer him over Grendel. Nope, I think this is probably the right spot for him. Right there, right behind Grendel. Siuan. Yeah, I love Siuan. Great character, for sure. Big fan of Siuan. I even love all our fish references. I loved her and Egwene's relationship. I love her as Amarillion. I thought her getting stilled and like almost executed was like super tragic and one of the more heart wrenching scenes in the books. I love the Rebel Aes Sedai plotline. It does not work without Siuan. Yeah, she got unfairly killed. There's no way she should have died. Her death was not foreshadowed at all, really, and didn't really make much sense. Just felt like casualty for casualty's sake. But I think she's a great character. Really love Siuan. She's gonna be pretty high on the list. I actually do prefer Leanne over her though, so she's gonna be right behind Leanne, right there. That's a really good spot for her. Suriella. Yeah, I like Suriella. Good character. Interesting wise one because she can't channel, I don't believe. She either can't channel or she can only channel very, very little. I can't remember which one of those is correct. But I loved her and Katsuane's like back and forths. I thought those were super interesting. So yeah, she's gonna be on the list high up there. Not she hasn't reached a great character though. She's not enough for her to be great. She's a good character. Head of Rurik for sure. Head of Eginian. Head of Padan Fain, Meridian, Leandrin. Jan Burgett, I think that's a really good spot for her. Right there. Yeah. I'm a fan of her character. Slayer. I think Luke. So I'm going to do them all together. I think Luke in The Shadow of Isaac is a super interesting character. I really love Luke. I love his personality. I think he's a great. Like I knew from the beginning, this guy's the shadiest heck. Like I knew you can't trust him. I knew he was bad. I was like 85% sure he was Slayer, but I wasn't 100% sure until I got shot with the arrow. As Slayer, I don't think Slayer's very interesting. So Slayer's very one note. I think he's a good antagonist. I don't think he's a great antagonist. I think he could fill the role of one book. So like I think him in Towers of Midnight very good. But then when he still lived and he was in Memory of Light more, I was like, oh no, not more Slayer. Please don't waste time with this character. Any more time with him. He's so one note. So he's not going to get into the great category for me. Even though if he was just Luke, I think he would. He's going to get in the good category though. I think he's in a good antagonist. I'll put him right behind Padan Fain. I think that's a really good spot for him. Talivar, yeah. I like I said, I love Morghese, and I really like Talivar too. I thought their arc together was really interesting. I like how he saw through Raven. He's like a very honest, fresh character, but also like courageous and sort of determined. And he doesn't know his self worth. He thinks less of himself than he should, which is really fascinating. I think he's a good character. Yeah. He's gonna go in the good category. He's not a great character. I'm gonna put him behind Eginian. I think that's a really good spot for him. Talmain, it's gonna be controversial. I'm not a big Talmain's fan. He's mad at me. He didn't. It's not what I. He did leave an impression on me, so I'm not gonna put him in. Didn't leave an impression, and I don't hate him, so he's not in the hated category. But just a meh character for me. He'll be high up in the meh though. I'll put him behind Fael. I think that's a really good spot for him. Tam al'Thor, fan favorite. To me, he can't reach the great category though. He's just not in the books enough. He's just not. And you can reach the great category, but if you're not in the books enough, but you have to have like some like super standout scenes. And he has some great scenes. I don't think he has enough like standout scenes. He has some good moments, and I really like his and Rand's relationship. When they argued in what is that book? Was that The Gathering Storm? I think it was The Gathering Storm. That was super heartbreaking, but then when they reconciled, that was super also heartwarming. Yeah, just good stuff. And I love them in, Guy of the World. He's one of the standout characters in that book. And uh, the Shadow Rising, he was great in that book. Yeah, Ken Althor, awesome. Just an awesome character. But he's a good character, not a great character. He could have been great. He's a character that has potential to be great if he was in it more. I'll put him, high up on the good, though. Definitely above Soriella. Definitely above Blue Rigid. I think below Asmodee. Yeah. Third, right there. That's a really good spot for him. Tom. I love Tom. Tom's a great character. He's going to miss out on the favorites list, but he's really close. I'm going to put him right behind Nynaeve. I love Tom. Yeah, the only book I didn't like him in was Eye of the World. After Eye of the World, because Eye of the World, he was too much Gleeman. He was just Gleeman this, Gleeman that, Gleeman this, Gleeman that. He was just a Gleeman. That was his gimmick. His thing was he was just Gleeman. He was the Gleeman. After Eye of the World, he became Tom, who is a Gleeman. Like, he's Tom and a Gleeman. He's not just a Gleeman. And I think he has some really good character interactions. Him and Rand are great. Him and Perrin are great. Him and Matt are really, really, really great. Him and Elaine are so heartwarming. I love him and Elaine together. That conversation they have. Him and Moiraine together, just amazing. Him and Bayle Domon together, really good stuff. Yeah, Tom, big fan of Tom. Big fan of Tom. He's a great character, one of my favorites, for sure. And he has so many great scenes. Even in A Memory of Light, he has one of my favorite scenes where he lets that one person walk by him, thinking they have him fooled, and then he throws the knife at him. That was so funny, so good too. And I didn't really see it coming. I was like, "What is Tom doing?" And I should have saw it coming because he's Tom. Tom's the best. Tuon, yeah, Tuon's awful. So going in the hated them category. Bottom of hated? No, I think I like her better than Savannah. So right there. Tuon's the worst because Tuon's not really an antagonist. She's a protagonist. And every time I'm just like, please do better, Tuon. And the thing about Tuon is I like reading Tuon. I like reading Tuon chapters because they're super exciting and good. And she's like a complex character, so it's awesome. But she's just super Seanchan, and Seanchan are just terrible. And every time I'm like, please do better, Tuon. She's like, how about I collar this girl instead? And it's like, no, I said do better. It's like, what if I collar her? That might be good. What if I collar this person? It's like, no, Tuon, please, no. God, Tuon. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Tuon. Yeah, she's in the hated category because her morals are just decrepit. I will say this, though. She's the closest thing to a gray character in this series. There's not really any gray characters in the series. They're either good characters or they're bad characters. Either antagonist or protagonist. And she is a protagonist, but not really. She's a great character. But she's not really presented like a great character, which is my problem. If she was presented like a great character more, I think she could be really in the great character list, but in the great character list, or at least the good character list. But she's basically presented as a protagonist, and she's just not. Her morals are too decrepit. It's like, please do better. So, yeah, really interesting. She's in the hated them category, but I also want to read all her chapters because I think they're super interesting and usually good. Tylan, yeah, he's also in the hated category. I'm sorry, can't get behind the Tylan Matt sexual assault scene. She does get better in the later books. They try to Robert Jordan tries to redeem her basically. It doesn't work, unfortunately. It just doesn't. But yeah. So she's gonna be below Tuon, but ahead of Savannah. I really hated reading Savannah. Uno, yeah, Uno. He's not even gonna be in the Matt category for me. No, he will be. He left an impression. He was in the books enough where he left an impression for me. But he's a Matt character full through and through. I like him better than Horan and Samuel. Yeah, right there. Uno, just a Matt character. Didn't really do much for me. He's meh. I kind of found myself glazing his pages when he was talking. He's just not a very exciting character. I do love the way he looks, though. He has a great appearance. I think his character description is one of the best in the series. Varen, superstar. Varen's awesome. Great character. The twist at the end was the twist in Gathering Storm was so good. It wasn't that shocking because you can kind of see it coming, but still that chapter is awesome. Awesome chapter. Love it. I love her arc. I love how she's in the Black Aja, but not really. Like, she doesn't want to be. She's like, oh, I was too much of a coward to say no, but I want to survive. Uh, but then she dedicates her whole life to actually like defeating the Black Ajah from within. Really good plot line. And then I like how she brings the list to Egwene, not Eladia. Even she's like, I know who the real power here is. Awesome stuff. And I love her interactions with all the other characters. Her interactions with Egwene and in like the earlier books when she was in the White Tower. Her interactions with Perrin, her interactions with Rand, her interactions in the Shadow Camp with the Aes Sedai, her interactions with Cadsuane. I think they're all top notch. She's a top notch character. She's not in the favorite list, but if she was in the books more, she definitely would be. She's a great character. Is she better than Tom? I don't think so. But right below Tom, from right there. Okay, so that is my Wheel of Time character tier list. This is a lot of characters. I know there's a few missing here. Like Amais isn't on here. If she was, she would be in the good character list for me. I really like Amais or Amy's. I'm not sure how you say her name. I think it's Amais. She's the Aiel wise woman that Egwene goes to learn dream walking. Yeah, same with Melanie. I think Melanie's also a pretty good character. She would also be in the good character list for me. They were there, but that's my Wheel of Time character list. Yeah, so I feel pretty strongly about this, especially my favorites and great characters and good characters list. I really the entire list I feel very strong about. Yeah, and this is the major reason. A major reason I want to do this list was because I feel pretty passionately that the reason Wheel of Time is so great, at least for me, was the characters. There's just a ton of characters to latch onto in this book, and he does a really good job giving characterization to so many characters. It's a really hard thing to do, and I don't know many series that have done that other than like A Song of Ice and Fire. Even that, I don't think gives as much characterization to as many characters as Wheel of Time does. Of course, there's more Wheel of Time books than there are Song of Ice and Fire books. That's a little unfair to say. But yeah, even long series like the Stormlight Archive, which I love. I love the Stormlight Archive. It's in my favorite series list, along with Wheel of Time. There's only like 5 to 10 characters to latch onto, maybe 10. Probably 10's more generous. Here, there's like 30, 40 that you can really latch onto. It's good stuff. Yeah, really adore the characters, and here's my character tier list. Hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know who your favorite character is. I have a feeling it's not going to be Egwene, which is okay. I'll take all the Egwene love for myself. But yeah, thanks for watching.